Okay, this is the trading plan for March 16th, 2024. So, yesterday we had a bigger picture breakdown. This balance was broken, this larger balance, and we had a breakdown with exhaustion. So, on the bigger picture, we have a little bit of exhaustion that's being worked off. The pattern in play here would be probably another pullback continuation. Where it pulls back to, whether it pulls back to the breakout or pulls back to initial resistance or even this area, all these areas are potential shorts because the bias is bearish on the short term, and right now the bias on the intermediate term is neutral because this is a breakdown attempt on the bigger picture. But the two main key components today are the bearish bias and the exhaustion that occurred yesterday, and those two things have to be balanced. So in the overnight session, we've balanced at a zone that's not particularly that important, and then we had this breakout overnight, and then it pushed and it sort of broke out again, and now it's testing the upper area, the upper balance area that ends at about 33, and the 38's here, and the 100% projection of this little range is here, and there was an exhaustion here at 8 o'clock. I wasn't done with my analysis at that time, but this is aggressive resistance, and then this is initial resistance, and then this is a bias changing zone and bias confirming zone here for the daytime frame, and the bias on the short time frame would really not change until we got above here, or took out this, really above this 75. And on the downside, this is like pre-market support, and like this whole area here would be like initial support. Breakdown below pre-market support would be a sign of weakness. Staying below aggressive resistance would be a sign of weakness. The market may not get to the ideal spot today, which would be up here, or even probably back of this zone because of the bearish bias, but we do have to balance that with the relative exhaustion, which sort of somewhat worked off going sideways overnight. Volume's good, so range is expected to be good. The extreme range is for volume's 150% right now. Let's see, what is Vulcan? That's 138. Is 5,000 for the extreme. The average is 5,040, which is basically the low of the next balance right here. So those are kind of downside potential if we just continue to stay weak, and with the big structural break in the NASDAQ, which I haven't looked at today, but I did see it yesterday, there's probably significantly more panic in the market. So that's the on the downside, because the market is bearish, going to need pretty good zones to fade, but because it's also exhausted, fading a good location can still result in a good potential long. So I will consider fading if we're exhausted into a good zone, because there'd be multiple time frames of exhaustion and support plus first test.